I see too many people hold on to the belief that when the love is real, it should be easy. And that's wrong. Loving them in the sense of the feeling being there for them is natural. It's easy in the sense that you don't have to force yourself to feel this way about them. But it can be hard embracing it, depending on what you've been through. It can be hard because of that outside noise. It can be hard because, again, the devil, the enemy, is trying to throw things off and will throw all kinds of wrenches at you. But when two people ain't supposed to be together, hands off. We're going to watch this burn up in flames because we know it's headed for disaster. When I say we, I mean him. I mean the enemy. I don't mean me. I take no joy in that, all right? So you got to understand that don't think it's just this walk in the park because they're the one that God sent. Don't think it's a walk in the park because there's connection there. No, be prepared for chaos. So when I say prepared, I don't mean, again, some people won't go through this. They won't have to, at least maybe not to an extreme level. But you want to be prepared in the sense that you understand that when things come your way, you don't react to the outside noise. You don't react to all the nonsense around you. You, again, go to God and let God guide you through the storm. All right? Let God tell you if you should pull away or not. Let God dictate your actions, not these things, these people, these other outside forces that are trying to get in the way. Now, one other thing I need to add to this whole be prepared for the chaos. There's another quote I was told once. Now, I really love it because I do feel like it happens a lot. And the quote is, when God is bringing you the original, be prepared for the devil to bring you an imposter. All right? And so I have seen these scenarios play out so many times where people have met that person that is the one, that connection's there, whatever. And then there's someone else involved. It could be an ex, it could be a new person that's been lingering around, someone that they just met, whatever. But they're always, not always, but many times someone else enters into the picture who's really being set there to throw everything off, whether you realize or not. But here's the thing you got to understand. It's an imposter. So the imposter looks like it could be real. All right? The devil ain't going to bring you someone that looks like they're coming to wreak havoc, that looks like they're trouble for you. No, this person is going to come that's going to give you question enough to say, well, should it be this person or that person? Where now you're choosing between these two individuals. And again, I've seen this happen with men, I've seen this happen with women. And this is why it is so important to, once again, talk to God and not evaluate the situation on the surface. Because what I have also seen is now people choosing the imposter because maybe the circumstances seemed more friendly. Maybe the resume seemed better. Maybe the situation made more sense to them. Whereas the person they have the real connection with, it seemed like it'd be too much trouble to make this work. Even though that's where their heart really is. Even though that's where God really wants you to be. So you gotta be, again, prepared for these things. And the way you guard yourself is by always going to God. Do not make any decisions without consulting with God directly and trying to hear the answer within your spirit. All right, so now let's move along to number 3, and also be sure that you subscribe to this channel and like this video. I definitely appreciate all your love and support. So the third thing you need to do or be mindful of when God sends you the one is to be very open, honest, and transparent. And so this is very important when we build off of talking about the fact that you have to be prepared for chaos. One of the reasons why so many couples or potential couples fall to the chaos is a lack of openness and honesty and transparency between the two. Sometimes, even though we have a connection, doesn't mean we're not fearful of always exposing ourselves in every way, exposing how we're really feeling, being completely forthcoming. Again, vulnerability or love and connection can sometimes pull it makes people feel very vulnerable, and that can cause people who struggle in that area to be very fearful. And we're human beings, so it just happens naturally. But it becomes so much more important for honesty, openness, and transparency when that person is sent from God, because we gotta guard the relationship against all that can come against it. And we can't accomplish that by not being honest and forthcoming with each other. And I have to say more specifically about how we feel about each other. All right. So don't get me wrong. The being open and honest about all things, what we're doing and stuff like that is important. We don't want to carry secrets and lies into the relationship. But again, what I've seen in these situations where we feel like there's a connection or we feel strongly about someone is when we're not sure about how they feel about us, that can create a lot of insecurity, fear, and throw things off. And we've got to be able to have that conversation. And again, it's not just about them saying it to you. If you do your part by saying it to them, by being open with them, by being expressive with them, and that makes it easier for them to do the same. And when we can give each other that clarity and understanding about where we stand with each other, how we feel, and when we do have doubts, because listen, again, we are human. So if we have doubts for whatever reason, let's talk about it. Because what happens is you have these two people, they're having this amazing connection. They're talking to God, but then for whatever reason, one of the partners is scared and has doubts about moving forward. But because they're not being honest about that, it's showing in their behavior. Maybe they're pulling back. Maybe they're not as responsive and communicating like they used to. And so now, because there's not an answer being given as to why this is happening, the other person who has to deal with this starts to dig for information or starts to think, oh, what's wrong here? Or are they seeing someone else? And that creates a chain reaction of negative events. So it's extremely important. It's like a broken record that you got to be open and transparent. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Relationships are the key to a successful life. But there's 5 areas that we have to be mindful of when it comes to relationships. There's relationship with God, relationship with ourselves, relationship with family and friends,